Good morning, it's Simon. Just funny thing, there's so much going on at the moment, and everything is changing so quickly, and there's an awful lot of uncertainty. And I get that it's hard to know where you're going or what to do when there's so much uncertainty. With society and technology has changed so much. You look over the last 120 years, how much has changed in technology. We are changing as human beings. We are changing technology and science and and our lives so fast. In fact, we're probably changing it faster than we can actually keep up with. And that generates a lot of anxiety because of that constant change. Nothing ever seems to be the same day after day. But essentially that's very true. Change is the only constant, really. Change in time. Guaranteed that things will change every day. There are 50 trillion cells in the human body, and within the space of 12 months, at different rates, every cell in every organ will be replaced. It'll be changed. So, from in a 12-month period, from 12 months back, 12 months ago last year, me, you, everybody, we are not the same person that we were 12 months ago to the day, because every cell has changed. And I know a lot of people who are, to a degree, afraid of change. They're scared of it. They don't like it. They want things to stay the same, but it's impossible. It cannot happen. And whether we like it or not, and whether we admit to it or not, we all change. When you and this, we all have to take all the good things from every stage of life to help us get through the next stage where there is so much uncertainty, because we're not used to it. We don't know what to do. We get help and guidance sometimes, but most of the time we have to figure shit out for ourselves. When you're in nursery or kindergarten, wherever you are, and then you move up into primary school, you cannot be the same child in primary school as you were in nursery, because it just doesn't fit that period in your life and how you need to be. You take all the things that you've learned, and we don't realise it then, we take all the things that we need and move on to the next stage. It's the same when you go from primary school to secondary school. There's no way you can be the same primary school child in secondary school, because you'd be bullied and ridiculed mercilessly, because kids are really quite cruel, as I'm finding out with my own, and as I found out when I was a kid. It's one of those inevitable things, but we take all the good things we learn, whether it's directly or indirectly at school, and take that into our the beginning of our working life. And all these things are constantly changing. We are changing and adapting to the environment we're in, the circumstance and the situation we're in. It's you wouldn't carry on wearing a pair of shoes that didn't fit you anymore just because you like the look of them. You don't wear clothes that don't fit you or don't suit you anymore because you're in a different stage of life. I'm sure you've all seen people that are in the middle-aged and wearing clothes that a teenager or a 20-year-old would wear, and it just doesn't look right sometimes. And you can see that they're trying hard to be younger but look uncomfortable because it just doesn't feel right, even though that they're still trying to do it. And this is kind of like a self-sabotaging loop. People trying too hard to be something they're not, and not accepting the change. So the first step we've got to do is we've got to accept that things change every day, within us and around us, and we have no control over that. Change is inevitable. And I really want you guys to just take a moment today just to think about that acceptance that change is happening and is going to continue to happen, whether we want it to or not. We have to accept that that's change is happening and embrace it and use it to our advantage. What can we do differently to help us be better, help us to cope better, help us to have less anxiety, because we accept that things are changing and we have absolutely no control over it. The funny thing about anxiety is it's a control issue, because we want to control things that we cannot. And the funny thing about human beings is that very often we get it the wrong way around. We think we can control everything outside of us, or most of it, when we have no control, and think that we can't control what's going on inside ourselves, which is where we have most of the control. And the more you try to control something that you cannot control, the greater your anxiety becomes. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, a vicious cycle that we are fueling ourselves. So take a pause. Stop, have a think, reflect on times when you've been anxious, trying to control things that are out of your control. The biggest thing at the moment is we cannot control what's going on with this virus. There are people with brains the size of planets, thankfully, working very hard all over the world, looking for ways to cure this, to stop it, to prevent it, create vaccines so that it can't happen again in the future. But we have no control of that. We have to trust in these people. We have to put trust in people we don't know in order to get on with our lives and to reduce our own anxiety. So do what you can do today to ease your own anxiety. Let go of some of that control you're trying to exert over things that you cannot control. And hopefully, in time, this is going to take a bit of practice, I appreciate that. And in time, and not too long with daily practice, you'll find your anxiety will start to ease. So, please comment below thoughts, ideas, suggestions, and ultimately, just have a good day, be safe and be well.